What's up guys, AT here, and today Team Bulldog are at Hyrox. The tagline is, it's the World Series of Fitness Racing, and today in the NEC at Birmingham, we're going to be taking part in a mixture of running and stations that combine resistance training with some metabolic conditioning type stuff. It's 8 kilometers of running in total with a mixture of sled pushes and pulls. We've got some ski erg, some rower, some burpee broad jumps, some farmers carries, a real mixed bag of stuff, all interspersed with 1 kilometer runs inside the hall between. We are in a mixed relay team with myself, we've got Paul Warrior, Lucy Lismore and Amanda, and we're going to be splitting that work between us. So come with us on the day and just check this out. So the concept's pretty simple. You're going to start with a 1 kilometer run, and after each 1K run, you're going to come into a different one of these stations. The first station you're going to come into is a 1K ski erg. We're in the relay, so each one of us is going to tackle their station separately, but you're always starting with that 1K run going into a station. If you're not in the relay, if you're in partners or you're in individuals like Jade, you're going to come immediately out of there after your 1K ski into another 1K run into the next station, which is over there, which is a sled push, or a real mixed bag between those runs. With Jade Skillen, framed with Bulldog. Jade has just competed in the women's pros. How did you get on today?
Did really well, to be honest. It's second Hyrox event in the UK this year, so did really well. I was two and a half minutes slower than the London event, but overall, happy with my performance. No excuses, but I was coming back from a chronic sinusitis, which has been horrible. Haven't been able to train for about 3 weeks, so based on that, my expectations were a bit lower today. But yeah, overall, it's incredible.
Any major differences between London and here?
The sled felt harder. I don't know whether it was the grounding. There's a lot of whispers about sometimes if the carpet's slightly different. That definitely felt a lot heavier, even though naturally it wasn't. The main difference for me will be the back and forward. So that's made a massive impact on performance, is just continually back forward. The lunges, you had to do a lot more turning. The carries, you had to do a lot more turning than the London event. But overall, the atmosphere is the same. It's the same in terms of, atmosphere. But I definitely say same running, but just a little bit more difficult with the back and forward on the movements.
And you're headed straight to a Spartan tomorrow?
I'm now getting in the car in Birmingham. I figured we're halfway there anyway from where I live, so we're now heading off to Spartan, which is the last of the UK series. I haven't done as much OCR this year. I've been really focused on Hyrox. But yeah, I'm going to go and have some fun and just enjoy it tomorrow. So, and also I've got a lot of athletes that are racing out there, so I want to go and hopefully see them on podium. So,
how does this compare to a Spartan, to an OCR for you?
For me, it's very different. One, it's indoor, and there's so many pros and cons to Wales is chucking it down right now. The obstacles are going to be slippery, but in terms of actual physically, this is, in my opinion, harder. You're under a lot more time pressure. Whereas OCR, you've got a lot of time to scrape things back, whereas mistakes made here, you haven't got a lot of time to scrape things back. Some of the beast races, you're looking at running it for 3 hours or something. So you have a lot of time and a lot of running between obstacles. Whereas here it's just that 1K, and you've got a lot of pace and awareness in here.
Do you think this is more suited to people who say come from a more CrossFit or functional fitness background, who are looking for something more consistent from event to event, people who are more metric driven?
For sure, I definitely think that there's an element of this that is very trainable. Yeah. So I know CrossFit, my coach is actually a CrossFit athlete. She's been to the CrossFit Games, and what she was saying, because she met me in the World Championships actually, and she was saying, in this type of event, it's so trainable. Whereas in CrossFit, you've got to have your gymnastics, you've got to have your strength, you've got to be prepared for running and handstands. And with this, it's so unbelievably trainable. So I think anyone that's done has a functional fitness background, CrossFit background, OCR, even running background, you know, as long as they do some compromised strength work, they pretty much would be fine. It's very versatile.
Yeah, I think also training for this has obviously a huge amount of carryover to OCR, right? Apart from the skills, like you're training the right energy systems, you're training interference.
For sure.
So I think if you were to train for this in the gym and then casually go into an OCR, it's going to give you a.
You'd be pretty much fine,
focus,
I think.
Right?
I think just impact. There'd be a little bit more impact on your skill set. So you'd probably have to do a tiny bit more grip strength training, hanging overhead.
Maybe learn to climb a rope.
Yeah, exactly. Like climbing ropes, but you've got like the strength aspects, the carries, the lower body lactic stuff, where you know you would work elevation. Like you know, if you're doing sled work, you're still going to get the energy systems, you know, that you're going to have that come up in OCR. They are very aligned, but sometimes very different as well in terms of how you feel. So,
what's next for you with Hyrox?
With Hyrox, next for me is obviously to kind of pull back now. It's the end of my season, coming to the end. It's been a challenging year for me, just juggling the OCR and the Hyrox. It's been harder than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, for me, next is obviously the combination of Spartan and Hyrox next year. Manchester is coming up in January, which would technically usually be my off season, so there's not really an off. Yeah. But yeah, January Manchester is going to be the one.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, good luck tomorrow, mate.
Thank you.